Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're tackling an absolutely massive milestone in our journey. We're looking at day 40, and today's topic is nothing short of the holy grail of offensive security, Windows privilege escalation. I am beyond excited to guide you through this explainer because, quite frankly, mastering this phase is what separates the novices from the absolute professionals. We're going to break down exactly how you move from a restricted, basic foothold to owning the entire machine. Get ready, because the stakes are incredibly high today.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Privilege escalation. It's the critical process of moving from basic user access to full unrestricted system control on a target Windows machine. Think about it. Getting initial access to a system, that's really just the beginning. It's like knocking on the front door and getting let into the lobby. But to actually achieve your objectives, to access sensitive data, or to establish real persistence, you need the keys to the kingdom. You need to become the administrator. You need full system control. And that is exactly what today's mission is all about.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, welcome to day 40. Second, the 4 core escalation vectors. Third, entering the escalation lab. Fourth, the Windows Priv-Esc project. And finally, your ultimate escalation checklist. Welcome to day 40. The mission briefing begins.
I just want to take a quick second to acknowledge this milestone. Reaching day 40 means you've built a serious foundation. You understand networking, you've got basic enumeration down, and you are officially ready for advanced operations. You aren't just looking for open ports anymore. You're looking for complex, structural flaws in the operating system itself. Now, our progression today is incredibly linear and focused. Step 1, learn the topics. We have to absorb the theoretical targets first, right? We need to know what we're looking for. Step 2, complete the lab. This is where theory meets reality, and we test our knowledge in a controlled environment. Step 3, build the project. This is the synthesis of the whole shebang, where you execute the final mission and build a tool you'll actually use for the rest of your career.
Section 2, 4 core escalation vectors, the doors to control. Let's move to the targets of the day and see how this builds. We have 4 specific pathways you're going to master today. Number 1, tokens. Number 2, services. Number 3, registry. Number 4, scheduled tasks. I really want you to look at these not just as abstract concepts, but as literal doors waiting to be unlocked within the Windows file system. Each one represents a unique mechanism that the operating system uses to manage permissions, and consequently, a unique opportunity for an attacker to slip through the cracks.
It's totally crucial to realize that mastering Windows privilege escalation requires paying completely equal attention to each of these 4 distinct pillars. You can't just be great at exploiting services and completely ignore tokens. Why? Because in a real-world engagement, the specific vulnerability you need to find might actually be hiding in a scheduled task. You really need a balanced 360-degree understanding of all these vectors.
So let's start with tokens. Think of tokens as VIP keycards, specifically things like the C impersonate privilege. When a user logs in, Windows hands them a token dictating their access. If we can somehow manipulate the system into handing us an administrator's token, well, we instantly elevate our access. It's a wildly effective way to just skip the line entirely.
Next up, we have services. These are basically the invisible background machinery of Windows, often running with system privileges. But if this machinery is misconfigured, say like an unquoted service path or weak file permissions, an attacker can simply swap out the legitimate background machinery with a malicious payload. And the crazy part, the system just happily executes it with full privileges. Then we have the registry. You can think of this as the master blueprint of the entire Windows OS. Because it's so massive, deep structural weaknesses often hide right in plain sight. If you find a misconfigured registry key that points to an executable, like an auto run or an always install elevated key, you can actually rewrite that path to run your own code instead. Our 4th vector is scheduled tasks. Administrators use scheduled tasks to create automated routines, maybe running a backup every night at 2 a.m. or kicking off a cleanup script every time a user logs in. But just like services, if these automated routines aren't locked down properly, they provide a brilliant backdoor for persistent, elevated access. We can hijack the task and literally just sit back and wait for the system to automatically trigger our payload for us, handing us that elevated shell right on schedule.
Moving along to entering the escalation lab, the proving ground.
Now, what's really interesting here is the necessary pivot from theory to practice. Reading about tokens and background machinery, that's just not enough. You have to move to the lab and the project to actually execute these techniques. This is exactly where you roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, and run these exploits against the live target. And that brings us right to the Windows Priv Esc Lab itself. This is a specially designed, vulnerable environment where all of your new theoretical knowledge is going to be put to the absolute test. This isn't just about following a list of instructions. It's about developing the attacker's mindset. It's about naturally exploring the system, spotting that misconfigured service, finding that weak registry key, and successfully exploiting it yourself.
Next up, the Windows Priv Esc project, the final mission.
As you'll see, our methodology relies on a really strict progression. Phase 1, topics, where your objective is to learn the vectors. Phase 2, the lab, where your objective is to practice the exploits. And finally, Phase 3, the project, where your objective is to execute the mission. This methodical, step-by-step process ensures you aren't just memorizing random commands. You are internalizing the actual logic of privilege escalation. You're being perfectly set up for success in this final project phase.
Finally, your ultimate escalation checklist, the weapon.
So the crucial point is, well, I actually want to slow down here for a second and really emphasize this next concept, the privilege escalation checklist. This isn't just a homework assignment. This is your definitive roadmap for all future engagements. When you're sitting on a real-world machine during a penetration test and the adrenaline is pumping, you won't have to guess what to do next. You'll have this checklist. You will systematically check tokens, then services, then the registry, then schedule tasks. It perfectly brings order to the chaos.
Leaving day 40 with this specific privilege escalation checklist means you're armed with a repeatable, completely reliable methodology. And in offensive security, a solid methodology is vastly more powerful than knowing a single isolated exploit. Exploits get patched all the time, right? But methodology is forever. It guarantees that you will systematically uncover whatever vulnerabilities exist on that machine.
So, I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. You've got the theory, you know the core vectors, and you have your final checklist. The proving ground is waiting for you. Are you ready to escalate? Dive into the lab, take control of that system, and I'll see you in the next explainer.